Things don't seem to be going well for Swiss bike brand BMC. And reports suggest they could be about to lay off a quarter of their staff. That's about 40 employees worldwide. Now, the exact number hasn't been confirmed. Sadly, it'll actually be BMC's third round of redundancies in 3 years. And they say this latest decision has been influenced by the uncertainty around Donald Trump's tariff policies, and that cost-saving measures are necessary to put the company back on sound economic footing. A bit of background on BMC. They started in 1986 building bikes for rally in Switzerland. In 1994, they lost that license, rebranded to BMC, and started making their own bikes. Do you know what BMC stands for?
I don't. My first thoughts were like British manufacturing company, but it would make more sense that it was actually something horrible like bicycle manufacturing company.
Spot on.
Is it actually?
Yeah,
that?
I knew it was generic, and then we researched this. I was like, oh yeah, it's really generic.
I was thinking because of the rally thing that it was just going to be like British manufacturing company or...
It's not British though.
Rally is.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Got it. Yeah.
They specialise in mid to high-end bikes. Their headquarters are in Grenchen, Switzerland, but like many brands, made in Taiwan. BMC has seen some world tour success, most notably 2011 with Cadel Evans winning the Tour de France. Philippe Gilbert, in his later years, 2012 Road Racing Championship on a BMC. Floyd Landis also won a Tour de France and then was stripped of his title, 2006. But in 2023, the brand left the World Tour for the first time in 2 decades. AG2R Citroën became Decathlon AG2R, and then they're obviously riding Van Rysels.
Von Riesel.
Van Rysel. The same year, several BMC employees were made redundant following decreased demand after the COVID boom. A further 11 employees were let go in 2024 after an application for wage relief was denied by the local government in Switzerland. But on a more positive note, their bikes will be back in the Tour de France this year as UCI Pro Team Tudor make their debut.
It is rubbish for the staff, isn't it?
I have a conspiracy theory.
Do you?
Do you want to know what it is?
Is it a conspiracy theory?
This is a conspiracy theory. So, I won't say what the team is or what the bike brand is, but I know a bike brand paid 2 million euros to sponsor a World Tour team. I know that as a fact.
Right.
That's about how much it costs, right? Depending on the level of the team. I suppose Tudor. 40 members of staff, 50,000 euros each, 2 million euros.
So what's the conspiracy?
They just kicked out loads of staff in order to sponsor a World Tour team.
Oh, they've not played Tudor 2 million, surely.
I know, you're the pro racing man. How big a Tudor?
Well, Tudor, the watch.
No.
The watch brand are very big.
I don't care about. I don't know what Tudor is.
Well, they're not top flight, are they?
Neither was the team that I'm talking about. 2 million. And that's without activating it. The done thing is to then use half of that budget again to activate the sponsorship and send your people there and take photos and do video and all that sort of stuff.
Can you imagine how much these brands could do if they spent the millions that they spend on pro cycling?
And this is without the bikes.
Just marketing, working with really good ambassadors, working with influencers, working with social media people, but like in a really good, productive way.
You'd run out of ambassadors.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. And don't forget that's without the cost of the bikes, which I guess some of them get sold, but pretty much written off. 4 bikes to ride it. You like race bike, they're probably going to crash one. So probably 2 race bikes, spare bike, TT bike, track bikes for some of them, spare TT bikes for the serious riders. And how many people on a team? 40, 50?
It's hundreds and hundreds of bikes.
Yeah.
God, the cost is massive, isn't it?
I feel as if it's not worth it, but I maybe it is. Clearly they keep doing it.
Well, it isn't.
And they only have to let go 40 members of staff to make it happen.
I guess maybe the thought process is, well, it doesn't seem worth it, but also if everyone else is there and you're not, does it feel like you're missing out on something, especially if they've come from a place where they've been there for 2 decades? I can see how the mentality would be, oh, things aren't going well. Oh, yeah, but we're not in the World Tour anymore. I don't know.
I suppose they're basically betting and hoping that one of the riders on the team will get a big result.
Well,
which is what they were getting back in BMC when it was Team BMC. I can't remember the other sponsors.
Yeah, but what return is that big result? What's the
Winning
financial
the Tour de France.
return on that big result?
It is big. People go and buy BMCs because Cadel Evans won a BMC. Maybe not the 2012 Road Race Champs as much, but definitely the Tour de France win.
The apps, surely.
They were popular then. They were sold in the UK. They're not even sold in the UK anymore. Zoro Fisher dropped them, but they used to be exclusive to Evans, and Evans was massive. And loads of people, like, you go to a club ride, people would be on BMCs.
Yeah.
And now you don't see them anywhere in the UK anymore. So at least there was some backstory there. Thank you for the script, Emily.
Very well.
For the UK viewers who might have started cycling after 2012 and never seen one.
This is the actual problem. I guess what you get is they've gone through a real glory day, and then maybe their relevance has dropped off because of the lack of results and stuff. Like, I know it's an incredibly expensive game sponsoring the Pro Tour, but actually if your team's doing well, look at Colnago. Like, they are absolutely, we read a story last year that basically says they're absolutely smashing it now because of Pogacar and probably now Del Toro and all of that.
Same thing happened to Pinarello.
Yeah.
It's just like a hope, sponsor and hope. I know the team I was just talking about, they were basing their sponsorship on one rider who then left the team, and then they only signed again with a similar deal, I presume, for another one rider to achieve one thing. Luckily, they did.
I imagine with a team like Tudor, you're putting your hopes on Alaphilippe winning a stage of the Tour.
Right, is he star rider for...
Because he's French and it's the Tour de France,
okay.
maybe. But I mean, like, you know, they've blamed the tariff insecurity as well, or the uncertainty around it. We talked about this before. We knew it was going to have some kind of ripple effect. Earlier this month, we saw Rota close their US office due to ongoing tariff insecurity as well. They're a Spanish company. They basically do all their dealings from Europe anyway, but they had a US office and they kind of went, let's just get rid of that. We'll do everything from Europe again. So there are changes going on.
I honestly, I hate PR responses to downsizing, because the actual reason they're laying off staff is because they bought too much stuff and not sold enough stuff.
And they look for other things to blame it on.
Yeah, and just for the PR response, like, oh yeah, these horrible things have caused all these problems. No, you've just planned badly. The forecasting hasn't worked.
It's going to affect the 6 bikes that they sell in the USA. Maybe I'm wrong. As US viewers, I haven't seen a BMC, and I've spent a lot of time in the US. Maybe they're all in one state.
You've given that side of the opinion. For balance, I'll give the other side of the opinion that if you are a company producing in Taiwan, it will undoubtedly affect your company. Like, I don't know how much of their sales is done in the US, but that is going to have an effect.
Mountain bikes, maybe?
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. Right.
This is it. Like, we don't know the ins and outs of their business, but I can imagine if you are producing in the Far East, there will be undoubtable effects, knock-on effects to your business. They've obviously been going through some sort of turmoil ever since the COVID decrease, as has everyone in the industry. So it feels like it's just kind of like a rolling stone of issues for them.